Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I am going to be reviewing the two new Colourpop palettes. So I got the Give It To Me Straight, which is the eyeshadow palette, and also the IN-NUDE-ENDO palette, which is the highlighter palette. And you guys have been asking me for the 3 demo on this eyeshadow palette, and it's finally here. So yes, in today's video, I'll be giving you guys 3 demos as always. I'll also be giving you guys my thoughts on these palettes, whether I would recommend them or not, and also some swatches. So pretty much everything that you want to know, everything that you want to see about these palettes, I'm gonna give it to you today in this video. So if you guys are interested, then just continue watching. Okay, first I'm gonna talk about the eyeshadow palette first because I feel like that's a little bit more interesting. So this is the Give It To Me Straight palette. This is $16 US. Something different about this packaging is that they actually have the names on the front now, right under the eyeshadows. So before they would just have it on the back, and it was actually kind of like reflected. So the way you see the names on the back is the way you see the shadows on the front, and it was a little bit confusing here and there when I filmed tutorials, and I just think it's amazing that they actually listen to the customers' feedback and actually put the names on the front, because I think a lot of people were a bit confused with that. It's easier for me when I do my tutorials, and it's easier for you if you are wanting to follow along to any tutorials. You know what shades you're picking up. Also in this palette you'll be getting 7 mattes and 5 shimmers, and I think this is just amazing. Double entendre was the same, 7 matte, 5 shimmers, and I think that's just like a really good balance, because I think having more matte shadows is very important to create multiple different looks. Having too much shimmers, you're not gonna make too many different looks. First off the bat, let's just say I freaking love it. Does it beat double entendre? No. Double entendre is still my favorite just because it's the perfect everyday palette. It's all warm shadows, you know, and that's just me. I personally don't wear like mauve purples too often, but I do like this palette where it does have warm tones and it does have mauve tones. Like the eye look that I'm wearing right now is very warm. You wouldn't believe that I use this palette, like would you? In all 3 demos, I use every single color in this palette at least once, and usually when I do 3 demos, it's kind of hard to use every single shadow in the palette. I try my best to, so that way you guys can have an idea of how you can use every single shadow, but sometimes I can't, and when it's very easy to use all the shadows in all my 3 demos, that's when you know it's a good palette. And I love all the looks that I made. Honestly, this palette comes in second place with the Dream Street palette. Like, it's neck and neck. I kind of feel like I like this palette a little bit better. I just feel like this palette is a little bit better for every day. I see myself reaching for this on an everyday basis over the Dream Street. So I posted a photo on Instagram about it, and I got a couple of comments saying that you wanted me to compare it to the You Had Me at Hello palette. And I get why you guys would ask that of me, because when you look at You Had Me at Hello, you see berries, mauves, and warm tones. Very similar to the Give It To Me Straight. And honestly, I thought the same as well, but once receiving Give It To Me Straight and playing around with it, I just feel like they are just different. I feel like they could be sisters. You Had Me at Hello, the berries in here are very mauve. They're very like cool toned, and also the, you know, more warmer brownish shades, they're more neutral. But as for Give It To Me Straight, the purples are just burgundy, like the burgundy purple, and also the more brown shades, they are very warm. If you do have the You Had Me at Hello, you definitely could get this one as well. I don't feel like you should not get this one, because I actually prefer Give It To Me Straight better. Also, this one is $2 more expensive because of the mirror. Also, the metallic shades, as you can see, it's more glittery. You can see it's very messy. It's more glittery than metallic, like a metallic sheen. For the Give It To Me Straight, the metallics, you see it's very clean. The more metallic. I actually prefer this one a little bit better than the You Had Me at Hello. Don't get me wrong, I still love this palette, but I feel like I'm gonna be reaching for this a little bit more. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. So I also want to give you guys some eyeshadow dupes that some of these shadows might have in other Colourpop palettes. So for this palette, honestly, I couldn't find too many dupes. So first, let's get started with the shade called Straight Up. And the dupe that I have for it is in the Dream Street palette, which is called Twinkle. And then also in the I Think I Love You palette in the shade Screw It. So all 3 of these shades have a very like brown base with a very rose gold metallic shine. You can definitely get a very similar look with all of them. Like, you probably couldn't tell too much of a difference once they are on your eyes. I feel like this shade is very common in these Colourpop palettes, and I love it. I don't mind that there are like similar dupes in different palettes because it is a beautiful shade and it is a shade that I do pick up very, very often. And then the next shade from the Give It To Me Straight palette is called Candid, and this is quite similar to the shade in the Yes Please palette called Bling. I feel like the finish of them are very, very similar. The one in the Yes Please palette is obviously a little bit more red than copper like the Give It To Me Straight one, but again, very similar finish, and they're gonna give you the same effect on the eyes. You know, they are a little bit different. I wouldn't say they're like perfect dupes for each other. And then for the last dupe in the Give It To Me Straight palette is called Actually, which is the darkest shade in the palette, and the closest one I could find is from the You Had Me at Hello palette, which is also the darkest shade in there, and it's called Sparks Fly. I mean, this kind of shade is, you do see it often in palettes. It is just like a dark burgundy chocolate brown. The one in the You Had Me at Hello palette is a little bit more scratchy when you swatch it. So it was only 3 shadows that I could find dupes for in other Colourpop palettes, so that's saying quite a lot. It's saying to me that this palette is actually quite unique. You don't see any of these other shadows in other Colourpop palettes. Overall, to wrap up on this palette, I would say a big thumbs up from me. I highly, highly recommend it. If you are someone that wears purples often, this is a great palette for you, and if you do want some warm tones in there, you got it there, you know? I highly recommend it. I love it. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. Okay, now let's talk about the highlighter palette in IN-NUDE-ENDO. Last year they came out with Give Me More, which I will compare it to very soon, but this is what the palette looks like. Again, they do have the names underneath the shadows as well. Right now I am wearing this one over here, which is called Morning After. This palette honestly looks really, really intimidating to me. Like these, like, I don't know, cool toned highlighters really intimidate me. I'm really scared that they're gonna look ashy on my skin. Formula wise, I really, really do like the formula. It's so good. Like, it's so much better than the Give Me More palette. The Give Me More palette was very, very glittery. It's not finely milled. You can see there's so much fallout of the glitter, and honestly, because of the formula, I don't reach for this palette like ever. I think for this palette, if you have like more fairer skin than me, this palette would be quite nice for you. I love the formula in this, but I wish I could only just like take these 2 out and just buy them separately. I don't know if I would go and buy the whole palette. I think if you see these shades and you like it, you know these are the shades that you like for your highlighter, I would say go ahead and get it because the formula is great. The formula is there. It's very metallic, very smooth. It just looks very like wet. But these shades, I'm just like, it's a little bit weird to me, like these really cool tone highlights. It's just really intimidating is all I can say. So overall for these 2 palettes, I would highly recommend the Give It To Me Straight, and as for the IN-NUDE-ENDO, I would just say look at the colors, look for more swatches, see it on other people that has a similar skin tone to you, and see if it's gonna actually work on your skin before purchasing. Overall, I'm really impressed. Another great launch from Colourpop. Once again, I think they're just getting better and better. I'm actually wearing one of the Luxe lipsticks, which will be next week's review. I'm gonna do a swatch video for that, but yeah, that'll be coming your way shortly. This is going to wrap up my review portion. Let's go ahead and get started with the swatches and that's 6 fingers, and the 3 demos. Okay, so to get started with look number 1, I'm going to take the shade Matter of Fact, and I'm going to use this to set down my eyeshadow primer. I'm going to pat this all over my eyelids up to my brow bone. Using the shade Down Right as my transition shade, I'm going to take this right into the crease using windshield wiping motions and then blending it out with circular motions up to my brow bone. Taking the shade TMI, this is going all over my lid. I'm gonna first start packing this all over my lids, first focusing it close to my lash line, and what is ever left on my brush, I slowly blend it up into the transition shade. And with my first transition color and brush, I like to go back in and just put that color back into the eye, make sure everything is well blended. Taking the shade Actually, which is the darkest shade in the palette, I'm going to use a very small blending brush and really just focus this close to my lash line. We want kind of like a gradient effect, like a gradient smoky eye. Using the shade Be Blunt, I am actually going to wet my brush while using this shadow. I'm going to place this all over my lid on top of the shade Actually, and this is just going to give a nice glimmer to the eyes. I first like to place the shadow right in the center of my eye and then just blend it out on the outer edges and the inner corners. That way most of the glitters is focused on the middle of the eye, and I think that's a very flattering look. Then I'll be taking the shade Fourth Night, and I'm just going to use my finger with this shade, and I'm just going to place this right in the center just to give a little bit more dimension and a little bit more glimmer and shine. I'm going to take the shade Actually, and I'm going to run this all over my lower lash line from outer to inner corner, just really blowing it out on the bottom lash line to match it with the eyeshadow on top. I'm going to be taking the Creme Gel Liner from Colourpop in the shade No Shame, and I'm just going to put this on my bottom waterline just to match it with the shade Actually, and I think it goes really nicely with this shade. To highlight, I'm taking the shade On the Loose from the IN-NUDE-ENDO palette, and I'm going to use this to highlight my cheekbones, the bridge of my nose, and also my chin, my brow bone. I like to match all of my highlight with the highlight that I put on my cheeks, and you can see this highlight's really beautiful. It's very shimmery and very metallic, which is what I love. So this is the completed look for look number 1. I just gave myself a wing liner. I popped on some lashes. These lashes are Serene Light from House of Lashes, and also my lip color is from the Luxe Lipsticks by Colourpop as well in the shade Uno Mas. Okay, look number 2, I am taking the shade Matter of Fact once again, and I'm going to use to set down my eyeshadow base, patting it down all over my eyelids up to my brow bone. For my transition shade, I am taking the shade BS, and you guys know what I like to do with my transition shades, put it straight into the crease with windshield wiping motions and then transitioning into circular motions to get a very blown out effect. But this shade is one of those matte shades that has glitter in it, but once you put it on the eyes, it is considered a matte. You don't see any of that little specks of glitters, so I don't know why Colourpop are still making these kind of shades, but you know, here we are using it as our transition shade. Taking the shade TMI, I'm going to focus this on the outer V of my eye, just working it in circular motions and mainly focusing the product on the outer corner, and what is ever left on my brush, I will work it a little bit into the inner corner of my eye. Taking the shade Actually, I'm just going to take this back into the outer corner of my eye, but working in a smaller section with a smaller brush. This is just really going to give that perfect gradient, and it's really going to deepen up the outer corner. Using the shade Fourth Night, I'm gonna start placing this on the center of my lid. Once again, all these shimmer shades I do use wet, but you don't have to. I just feel like when you do use it wet, you get the most shine out of it and you do have less fallout. So I'm just placing this right smack bam in the middle of my eye. And then I will take the shade Straight Up on a smaller shader brush, and I'm going to place this on the inner corner of my eye where we left blank, and I'm just going to mesh it into with Fourth Night, and these two are going to be our inner corner shimmer shades. Going back in with the shade BS, this is going on my lower lash line from outer to inner corner as always. And then I'll be taking a bit of Actually, and I'm going to use a pencil brush to really just smoke out the outer corner of my lower lash line, connecting it with the deep outer corner on our top lid. Taking another cream gel liner from Colourpop, this one is called Honey Dude, and I'm going to put this on my bottom waterline. And to highlight my face for this look, I will be taking Fine Line from the IN-NUDE-ENDO palette. And again, it's going to go on my cheekbones, bridge of my nose, chin, brow bone, and inner corners. And this is look number 2. Once again, off camera, I gave myself a wing liner, popped on some lashes. It's the same lashes as demo 1, which are the Serene Lights from House of Lashes. And for my lip color, it's another Luxe lipstick in LA Lady. Last and final look, let's get straight into it. Taking Matter of Fact once again, this is going to be my setting shade for my eye primer. Nothing new here. For my transition shade for this look, I will be taking the shade Truth Hurt. And again, nothing new. I'm gonna put this into my crease, windshield wiping motions, and then blending it out with circular motions. And this color you kind of need to pack on a little bit, so just take your time with it. Make sure you get it really blended. Do not rush the step, because I feel like this step is the most important step in all eye looks. Taking the shade BS, I'm going to start placing this on the outer corner of my eye using circular motions, packing the color first right in the outer corner. What is ever left on my brush, I will bring it back into the inner corner of my eye. We are doing a half cut crease with this look, so you want to have some product in the inner corner of your eye so there's some depth where the cut crease is going. If that makes sense, just make sure you do bring it into the inner corner and you do go above the crease a little. Next up, I'll be using the shade Frank, and this is also going in the outer corner of my eye. I'm just slowly, gradually building up the outer corner. I'm doing the same kind of technique, but just with a smaller brush. Taking just a tiny bit of Actually, I'm going to use a pencil brush and just put the tiniest bit on the outer corner again, just really deepening up the outer V, and I'm going into kind of like a C formation the way I'm using my pencil brush. And now we are going to cut the crease. You guys see me do this so many times, but I'll explain it every time I do it. So first, I like to take a concealer and just place it all over my lid and place it where I think I will be needing it, how high I need to go. And then I will look up, and this is going to mark a line where the highest point of like my crease is. And if I take my concealer up to that mark, I definitely will not get any transfer when I open my eyes. So hopefully that makes sense. I like to use a tiny brush first, and then I'll go in with a very fine paintbrush and just go along the edges to make sure everything is very crisp and very sharp. And then I'll be taking the shade Candid, and this is going all over the concealer, making sure that I cover everything and being very careful when I go up to that crease line. And then I'll be taking the shade Up Front on a very small lip brush, or you could use a pencil brush, but this is going right up close where the crease is. This is just going to define that crease a little bit more. I feel like the shade Candid wasn't light enough to really define that crease, so taking the shade, putting it right up close to the cut crease section is really going to bring out the actual cut crease. Going back with the shade BS, I'm going to use the shade to blend the shimmer and the darkest matte on my outer corner together and just give it like a perfect gradient. And instead of having it like there's a matte there and there's a shimmer there, you want everything just to be seamless and blended together. And then for my lower lash line, I just use the shade Actually, and I just run that from outer corner to inner corner as always. And then taking another Colourpop Creme Gel Liner. This one is Mr. Bing, and I'm just going to put this on my bottom waterline once again. To highlight, we are going to be using the shade Morning After from the IN-NUDE-ENDO palette. This highlight is a little bit more warm, it's a little bit more pinky, and I think it really just ties all the warmness on our eyes really nicely together, so I think it was a good choice for this look. And that is the completed last and final look. For my lashes, I am wearing Boudoir Lite, and for my lip color, I am wearing another Luxe lipstick in the shade Gallop. And that, guys, is going to wrap up my video for today. I hope you guys did enjoy everything, the review, the swatches, and also the 3 demos. I would love to know which demo was your favorite. And also let me know in the comments down below, have you guys tried these products out? What do you guys think of it? Agree or disagree with me? I would love to chat about it with you guys. I love talking to you, so leave your comments down below. But if you guys did enjoy watching this video, it would mean so much to me if you guys would give it a thumbs up, because it just shows me that you guys like these videos and want me to do more of it. So yeah, that is everything today for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!